Okay, we're live. Welcome to the second pregame pint here at Against the Grain Brewery in Louisville, Kentucky. We are here just a couple hours ahead of Louisville City's kickoff against the Rochester Rhinos. Joining me right now is Louisville City FC media guy, Steve Peake. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being out here. Well, we want to start off talking a little bit about the game tonight. Rochester coming off a recent win over FC Montreal, 3-0 on the road. Obviously, they are 2-0-1 now, 2 wins, 1 draw with New York Red Bulls, 2 to start the season. They've had a good start so far. What are we looking for out of that game tonight?
Yeah, this is a very talented team. Probably the best test that Louisville City's had all season. Of course, the game at Richmond, that's a team with a lot of history. Rochester celebrating their 20th season. So a lot of history there. This is a franchise that has actually been one of the few USL pro teams, or USL teams, to go on and win the U.S. Open Cup, and they did so back in, I think, 1999. And then this team continuing that tradition of talent. I know last season, for their expectations, they were down a little bit. They're right back this year, and this is a huge game. I know it's early in the season. You're talking 3 games in now, 4 for them, but it's a chance for Rochester to get to first in the Eastern Conference standing. So this game will mean something for them, no question. For Louisville City, if they're able to pull out the win, which they're definitely capable of doing, there's a chance to get into second place and take the Rochester spot.
Yeah, both teams are actually undefeated. I think there's about 7 teams in all of the USL left that are undefeated. What do you think it means to the team looking at trying to keep that streak going?
That's huge, and it's huge for a number of reasons, especially you're talking about Louisville City side, keeping that momentum going and continuing to get the word out there. And if you're able to keep saying, we have an unbeaten team that's playing right here in the city, that's really doing big things in the league in their very first year. Now, you think about some of these Rochester guys that were on this team last year. They were on the same team. They have a little bit of chemistry. All the guys in Louisville City, they were not teammates. The only ones is the head coach and Brian Burke. So this is a totally new team. This will be their 3rd game in regular season competition playing together. So to keep that streak going and continue to build that team camaraderie, it would be huge to stay undefeated.
Now, of course, around the USL, obviously we got to talk first about last night, Sacramento Republic, Rodrigo Lopez. I mean, that's all.
You know what, Don, and I know that this is considered one of the this is one of the lower leagues. MLS being the top flight, they might sneak into a SportsCenter top 10. I would not be completely shocked to see that in SportsCenter's top 10 at some point, maybe in this week. That was incredible. If you all haven't seen it, go and check out the highlights on YouTube. Just type in Sac Republic or USL on Twitter and look up that goal. That was incredible. One of the best goals I've seen in American soccer.
USL tweeted the GIF. It's out there. You can see it. Rodrigo Lopez takes a strike from just across the midway line that just sails over the goalie's head into the back of the net. Sensational. Yeah. Some would call it lucky, maybe.
You know what? A little bit of luck, but I feel like every goal has a little bit of aspect of luck to it, a little bit. But still, it was pretty incredible to see.
Now, how much luck do you think went into that goal last night? We're talking about U.S. men's national team here. Jordan Morris, sophomore at Stanford University, who collects a sort of, ricocheted pass off of one of Mexico's defenders and easily slots it past the goalie. It was incredible to see, especially because of his story, but is there luck in that too?
Yeah, obviously, even when I saw the goal, obviously a little bit of luck, but hey, you take it. You take him any way you can get him. You take him, and Jordan Morris, what a cool story that was, and we found out later, and I think everybody thought it was a joke at first. He was the man of the match, the Budweiser man of the match. Unfortunately, he's a sophomore in college? So he's not 21. So 21. He couldn't actually receive man of the match.
Budweiser can't endorse giving their product to someone under 21, I guess.
I guess that's the reason. But I thought that was an interesting story because they wanted to give it to him and they couldn't.
He should have gotten it. He deserves a case of beer for that. Not that we condone underage drinking, even though this is the pregame pint. Obviously, there's nobody here right now. It's 11 in the morning on a rainy Thursday. Hopefully, this place is going to fill up tonight. But right now, there's nobody here. We are alone. And, of course, the staff is just prepping to get
It's good to see, though, that everybody's at work. And
that is good. Yeah, definitely go to work for a little while, get your work done, and then focus on the game a little bit later. So we want to talk a little bit about, I came out to practice earlier this week and talked to Matt Fondy a little bit about something. The team, as they said at Media Day before the season started, they talked a lot about how easy it was to get along with each other, how they just came in and they felt like they knew each other and they really got along well, but they've really come together more so than that. And they've implemented a fine system on each other where they sort of call penalties on each other.
Yeah. Now, I don't know the full extent of that. That's kind of a team thing, but I know that and I know you mentioned this, that they're doing this sort of to like raise money for some kind of party they're going to have at the end of the year, and it's just like little minor fines. It's like leaving your maybe the clothes or you're hanging out of your locker, something like that, and you'll get a fine for that. And you saw the one on Twitter with Sean Reynolds running the USL Twitter. He was doing his job,
promoting the game,
promoting the league and the game and the team. And so
rules are rules. We don't make them. They made them. If they want to stick to them, it's great. And now Matt Fondy said they are going to have a party at the end of the season with the money they raise. He did tell me they're open to suggestions. So I don't want you to bombard him on Twitter, but maybe you want to. Maybe you have good ideas for him.
Yeah, I mean,
Chuck E. Cheese.
Are
there under 21 people? They can't have a Budweiser Man of the Match party.
That's true. That's true. I think Magnus is not 21. So. Yeah. Well,
Chuck E. Cheese it is.
Yeah, they'll find something, and you know what? A lot of these guys, everybody on the team new to Louisville, so they're looking for suggestions. I'm sure of where they could have this party, and I think they're kind of hoping maybe the budget. What would you say there? You hope the budget. You hope that there would be that you're not fining. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. But then again, if you want to have a nice party, then you need people to not do.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough situation there because you want to find people. Are they going to? I mean, maybe they'll just start making up fines for each other. Like, oh man, you were behind me. I beat you to the bus. So fine. Well, we'll see. Coming back to a little bit about the players. Obviously, Guy Abend or Abend. How do you say it? Abend. Okay, sorry. Abend is a German word that I always know. So anyway, Guy Abend. He's going to be out for at least a couple weeks. Coach O'Connor said earlier this week. What happened in that match? I know obviously with the Richmond stream, the camera was not on it when it happened, so I didn't see the tackle. Haven't been able to find it.
Right, and I know the coaching staff they were not pleased, and Coach O'Connor did have something to say about the tackle after the game. He called it disgraceful. I haven't had a chance to see it, but I know that Callahan from Richmond came in. And it's a tough play. Sometimes it's hard to pull up. He was going for the ball. He wasn't. You don't go into those tackles trying to put a guy out for a few weeks.
No,
that wasn't the intention. It just so happened that he definitely got there late. It was a harsh tackle, and now Guy's going to miss a few weeks. And I really you hate it for him because Guy he's one of the nicer players on the team. He's one of the better players on the team. So they're going to miss him on the field, but they're also going to miss his presence in the locker room. You're talking about a guy who's, and I'm going to try not to say guy when I reference this, but you're talking about a person who's he's very kind to everybody. He was somebody he's easy to talk to, and to see him at practice, and you could tell he was really bummed out. And I even asked him, I said, "Guy, how you doing?" And he just like, I'm doing okay. And you could feel it that he wants to be out there. So I think, the coach said a few weeks, and hopefully, he has a speedy recovery and come back, because, we're going to need him to win games.
Okay, so now he is going to undergo surgery. I saw that on Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, so, they are going to do surgery. And like I said, just hopefully we can get him back as soon as possible. If you remember, he set up Charlie Adams' second goal with a nice little back heel. And
it was beautiful.
And he's capable of scoring goals himself. So, the quicker we can get him back, the better. But we have guys who are going to be able to fill that spot. And the great thing about this team is you're talking about a group of guys that Coach O'Connor and Coach Bird, they looked at hundreds of players. So everybody that's in that locker, everybody that's on that roster is there for a reason. And there's not a huge drop-off. So I know Coach O'Connor has been working with some guys to kind of fill in that midfield position, and I think they'll be able to do that. But, of course, Guy will be missed. Well,
the midfield is loaded. And, you've got what specifically Coach O'Connor told me earlier this week, when I asked him about how are you going to get Matt Fondy to break through Rochester's backline, he said the good thing about Matt Fondy is that he attracts defenders. Yes. The defenders lock onto him. They want to play as close to him as possible, which leaves the midfield open. And he said, we're going to look for the midfielders to get open, to see the opportunities in the heat of the game, to move through and to take their chances when they get them. Obviously, notably absent from the midfield in the Richmond game was Charlie Adams, who you just mentioned had that spectacular goal from outside the box here against St. Louis. He was out. He was injured a little bit. Was there anything serious? Obviously, he's expected back today, right?
Right. So actually, before that St. Louis game, he had a little bit of trouble, a little bit of soreness, I believe, in his right leg. And then I actually asked him before the game if he was going to be able to go, and he said, "Well, if they need me, I can." He comes in, has a spectacular goal. I think he looked like he was feeling good right after that, don't you think? And yeah, they said, well, we're going to send him out versus Richmond and let him, get back to 100%. So he's ready to go tonight. I think that it was just precautionary, making sure you don't further injure yourself. I know he was complaining about a little bit of soreness after that St. Louis game, but he seemed to. Some of the moves he made, you could see where he has the potential to really stand out on this team. I know the attention is on Matt Fondy. I think we have a number of guys who could potentially be star players. Charlie Adams is certainly one of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now what do we look for tonight out of what they're going to do? Obviously, we saw a little bit of attacking, moving up the pitch. That's obviously Coach O'Connor's specialty. He talks about it a lot. But what should we look for tonight in particular against Rochester?
Same thing. I talked to Tariq Morad, and he said we got to play our style. This is a team, Rochester's team that we saw can score goals. Put up 3 last week. They scored 2 against Pittsburgh. So after that 0-0 draw they had in the first game of the season against New York, they've been able to put 5 in the back of the net. So yeah, when playing that attacking style, you can leave yourself susceptible in the back line, but you got to trust those guys. We got 4 guys in the back that I think that are just as good as anybody in the league. Between Connor Shinosky at center back, Tariq, Adam West, and then you got a couple guys that you can have, but especially Brian Burke back there. Those are 4 really good players. So you trust those guys, and yeah, they're going to push forward. You're going to see Adam West come up and deliver balls into the box too.
The back line has been really strong. Obviously, Connor Shinosky made USL Team of the Week last week with a good performance against his former club, Richmond, where he was on loan for a while. But we have seen, we have these really capable people on the back line like Brian Burke and Adam West who are moving up the sidelines and moving in.
Yes.
They haven't gotten in on any of the goals yet. Obviously, the 3 goals, one was a long ball to Rasmussen. One was obviously the back heel up to Charlie to score. And then another came on a free kick from Juan Guzman over to Austin King, the loanee from Carolina. What should we look for in trying to get those wing backs moving up the field and playing into that offense?
Well, more of what we're seeing in some of these friendlies and things that they've been working on is you see Brian Burke when he's able to make those runs down the sideline and deliver a ball into the box. It is at a different level than what we see from some other USL teams. These guys are playing the right back, left back. Adam West able to deliver a ball. Adam West has had plenty of experience. He was actually at Rochester and won a championship there. But you watch these guys come down the sideline and able to deliver a ball to the box. They're going to be responsible for a number of goals this season. And you just see that the touches they're able to make and the speed that Brian Burke has, that's what separates him. That's what's going to – he's going to be back in MLS, or he's going to be in the MLS. And it's because of his speed and his footwork. It's absolutely incredible, Dalton. I was watching him make some of the runs he made late in the friendly against SIUE, and you can just see that's a totally different level of play out of number 2.
Now, obviously, for those that weren't aware, it's been about 11 days since the last game against Richmond. So Louisville City traveled to SIUE, Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, for a friendly that was, rain delayed. It was delayed by some lightning. It ultimately took almost 4 hours from the time that the first whistle blew to the time that the last whistle blew. Tell us a little bit about what we were looking for out of that friendly.
Wow. Well, let me say first, I know that I left my house at 7 a.m. on game day and didn't get back to the house until 7 a.m. the next day. So I was gone for a full 24 hours.
That's dedication.
Yeah, it was wild. And I know that the guys were tired. We got off the bus and there was, like I said, the rain delay. And I know Coach O'Connor was saying, hey, we drove 5 hours for this friendly. We want to get it in. So we waited out the delay. And great facilities at SIUE. I got to first compliment them. And they have a great team. And, of course, we know their coach. He's very familiar with the city. Sanchez. So, this is that was a game that was frustrating for a number of reasons. And one of those was the amount of opportunities that we had to score that we just didn't capitalize on. There was 5 or 6 goals that should have happened. And one in particular, I think Elijah Illick, who I think is going to be a guy who, by the end of the season, he's going to hit the stat sheet several times. He's got a powerful right foot. He's very fast. He's strong with the ball. He had a chance, probably the best chance of the game. And just, it's just things that'll happen. There'll be the team will just gain this chemistry. That's some of the things that you look at the result and you say SIUE won the game 1-0. And there were a lot of factors, not just, playing with a different lineup, not just trying different things, but also you're talking about SIUE. These guys have been playing together for a few years. That's so much different. Basketball, you can put 5 guys on a court, and they might, if they're really good, they'll go out and beat anybody. Baseball doesn't matter. But soccer, you have to have the team. You have to know when you make a pass, that guy's going to be there. So all of that's definitely a factor in that, and it played a part last week.
Okay, so we're looking for a lot of big things out on the field. Obviously, we've got something to talk about, the March to the Match, which has been instituted. I know they did it a little bit at the last game, but now we've got an official setup down here at the Troll Pub and at O'Shea's. Is that right?
That's right. Yep. So there's going to be a pregame party. I believe it starts at 5. It will, I'll say it ends at 7, but, feel free to hang around. But the March to the Match does start at 7, so if you want to be a part of that, and how cool was that last time?
We shut down Washington Street. The mayor showed up.
Right, and then you got all these people who didn't really know what was going on that just kind of sort of latched onto the group and marched to the stadium. It was so cool to see hundreds of people making that march, and I think as this team grows and as the fan base grows, that's going to be a really cool experience. You look what the Emerald City supporters do for the Seattle Sounders game, and that's shutting down almost the whole city.
Sounders attendance is legendary. It would be great to hit that kind of.
I mean, we can only hold 13,000 here. So, but still, I mean, I agree. If you can have that sort of march to the match where you're making this noise, and so when people don't know about the team, they don't know what game's going on. They hear all that noise, and they get.
And that march has been extended, right? It's going to go all the way around the stadium. It's going to come down Washington Street to the east and then head up a little bit south around the stadium, past here at Against the Grain, and then go around to the north entrance to the field, and they're going to enter from there.
Right. So, that's it adds a little bit more to it. I think that's creating a buzz in its own, too. And I think that you have these casual fans who are going to see that and go, you know what, we got to do that. I've had people say that they showed up to the game right at game time, because that's what you do for most sports. Even if it's Louisville basketball or if it's Bats baseball, you show up right when the game starts. There's no real reason to be a part of something early, but that's the difference here. That's that little extra that this is able to bring with our supporters, is that you might have these fans who said, I've heard them say that was really cool. I want to do that next time. So we'll see how many people show up and be a part of that tonight. Yeah,
soccer is certainly a different atmosphere, especially when you've got the contrast of coming into a baseball stadium where it's very laid back. It's a long game. Right. Not sure how long it's going to take. Whereas in the soccer game here, we've got 90 minutes of intense action. Right. Everybody's on their feet. They're chanting, they're singing and everything. So the Coopers brought that. I think we've also got a member of the Louisville Heretics sitting here at the bar. He wandered in and might join us here in a minute. We'll see if we can get him in here. But
I like their march to the match. It's a little bit easier in case you don't feel like walking all the way around. I think I saw on Twitter their march to the match is from here to their seats.
Yep.
So it's a little bit easier if you'd rather if you got tired legs and
if you've eaten too many of the donut holes here or the pretzels. Those are the things that I like to eat here. They're good. And then all you have to do is just simply walk out the door and you're in there. That's fine. That if you want to make that march to the match,
the wings.
That's encouraged.
The wings here.
Oh, the wings are pretty good.
Oh my gosh,
I haven't had it.
No, it's unbelievable.
See, I didn't get past the burgoo on the menu. I love burgoo. So it was a little small.
When we were here for the watch party was here, of course, for the Richmond game. We had the wings, and I went through. I thought I'd just try them. I ended up, by the end of the game, I was through 3 orders of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, order as many as you can. First time.
Last time for the pregame pint, I brought donuts, and I came in with the donuts. I asked them if it was okay, and they said, sure, that's fine. But I came in, and some of the people that were working here said, we have donuts. And I said, I didn't, but I do now, and I will start
I've heard good things.
So that's what I'm about to have are some of the donuts here when we get finished as a way to get ready to take on the rest of the day. Obviously, Against the Grain on tonight, throughout the day, 50 cents from the purchase of every soccer-specific ball control pint. That's what they call it, ball control. I don't know what kind of beer it is. I don't know that much about beer, but 50 cents from the purchase of every pint will go to the Rovers Foundation to help kids get access to soccer.
Yeah.
And that's great.
That's really cool.
So come on out, tonight, help support the Rovers Foundation, help support Against the Grain, make either one of the marches to the match in from wherever you want to walk. It depends on if you want to get exercise.
As long as you get in.
If you've been sitting at your desk all day and then you head out here and you want to get some exercise, take the long march to the match, go all the way around. If you've been out exercising today, maybe just sit at the bar, walk right in.
Do what you got to do to get in the stadium.
Okay, so now obviously we want to talk real quick before we finish up about recently Business First released a study of professional sports in town that showed a little bit about how on paper, the city could support these professional sports. On a score of 0 to 100, Louisville scored a 100 for professional soccer. I know Wayne Estopanol had some reaction to that. What does that mean to see that and to say, like, are you surprised? Or are you at all like, yeah, obviously?
Well, I think that a lot of people, there's been a movement in the last few years, not just for Major League Soccer, but for also the NBA. And I think that when you're talking about the NBA, I think that would be great. But the issue is that you have all these people who have season tickets. They're gonna keep their season tickets for Louisville and Kentucky. You already have an established product here. So I think they factored in all of that, and you look at what leagues are expanding, and the MLS is expanding. So when you look at potential cities that could host an MLS team, they want to look for big cities and big markets. And there are plenty of bigger markets in Louisville. But one thing that they will have here is that there's no top level league to compete with. You have minor league baseball, you have collegiate athletics, and of course, this is a college state, not just a college town. It's college basketball from Western Kentucky all to Lexington to Louisville.
That tradition is ingrained. We've seen it, especially with Louisville. With the soccer people have gotten out to support Louisville soccer, especially with their stadium.
Yeah, I mean they're putting 5,000 plus in for
they led the league in average attendance last year. Led the whole Division I in soccer for attendance last year.
Amazing, and rightfully so. I mean they have a good team and a really nice stadium, but I think the MLS, they're going to look at when they're doing that study, and the MLS is looking at Louisville for a potential expansion team. I think that's got to be factored in that, hey, there's nothing else there to compete with. You go to some of these bigger cities and you look at Chicago, and it's a huge city, but you have the Cubs, the White Sox, the Blackhawks, the Bulls, and they're all playing right now. Of course, not the Bears, obviously, but they're all those teams are playing. And you got the Chicago Fire that is fighting for attendance. So here you wouldn't have that issue. But we're in a league that is constantly expanding. I think it's going to grow even more next season. We will see about that. But it's really fun to be a part of this league right now. I saw somebody say on Twitter, it was actually a St. Louis fan. I'll give him props for this. He said, MLS, of course, would be amazing. But let's enjoy what we have right now because we get to get close to the players. I think as you get to that next level, the players do become more distant. It's a bigger league right now. You got guys going out to events, players watching matches with some of the fans, going out talking to the fans after the game, things like that you probably don't see as much of if you take to the next level. So I think a lot of people appreciate the league that we're in right now. I know we do, and it's a league that, hey, this is the biggest outside of the NPSL, which is still mostly made up of amateur players. This is the biggest league. So when you win a championship in this league, it's a little bit more special.
Oh, yeah. Well, Steve, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick you out here for a second because we've got this guy. What's your name?
The King is here.
Hey, I'm Jay.
Jay. All right, Jay, come on up here real quick. You are from the Louisville Heretics?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so you got the crown. Tell me a little bit about where that comes from.
We're the Kings. I mean, it starts with St. Louis and the Kings Cup, and it's like the league. A lot of new teams in here. We kind of have to make sure they know that we're here to be respected, and our team's here to be feared, and so are our fans. We're about getting rowdy, having a good time. Poking the bear with other supporter groups on Twitter and stuff like that, and just being psyched that we got a team here in Louisville.
Yeah, what's that like to see to come out? I know you all were out last game, right in the front row.
Oh yeah, I mean we were stoked. All of us are real big soccer fans, so the idea of like getting a team and it was a cool idea to start with, and we were like, oh well, we'll see what happens. And then when it actually came so quickly, we were just like, we gotta get on this, we gotta get our thing together. So we're stoked. We love the turnout. We love that we're at the top of attendance so far. I mean, we've had one home game, but in the middle of March Madness in Louisville, Kentucky, you get over 6,000 people to a soccer game. I mean, that's amazing. And
it was a good turnout. Lots of purple.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And people were just thrilled, and we want to get people in. We want to get people to know. We want to get out there, let them know that there's supporter groups out here who care, and there's obviously the Coopers have done a great job getting people in here, and we love everything that we do, that they do, and we just want to put our own little spin on things and just have our fun. And we just encourage people, bring the kids, bring the family, bring a friend who hasn't come. There's that program where you bring someone who's never been and you buy them a beer and you get them into soccer. And
specifically the ball control pint.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
specifically
ball
the Rovers
control.
Foundation. Yeah,
that's the one that you have to get.
Yeah.
We're thrilled, and we just always want to be a part of whatever Louisville City's doing. So
okay, so the Louisville Heretics joining us for a few minutes here.
Absolutely.
They will be here all evening. They will make the march to the match straight through the doors. Obviously, you can do that. Feel free to join them. Look for the shirt with the 3 crowns on it. They are the Kings. All right. Well, Jay, thanks so much for joining me,
thanks
man.
For everything
all right.
You do. Have a good one.
And that's it for episode 2 of the Pregame Pint. Join us next Saturday. We'll be here before the game against the Tulsa Roughnecks. Obviously, coming up Sunday, Louisville City is away at the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. We'll see you next time.